We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. One conversation at a time. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. One conversation at a time.
The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
Hey, welcome back to the Breaking Bread Village. I wanted to start off our show real quick, and I have my guests here waiting too, but I just wanted to just take a moment and just pay a little respect to a friend of mine's husband who passed away here recently from COVID pneumonia. And I just wanted to, which I usually don't do this on here, but I wanted to put up their GoFundMe because he is sort of stuck, so to speak, in one part of the country, and they're trying to get him back home. So I wanted to do my part as a friend to the family to just share this with people if they would like to support it. His name is Eddie, and he was a part of the Navajo Nation, and he was a wildlife activist, advocate. He worked and did so much for nature and for his community within the Navajo Nation. So I just wanted to share this with everybody because I just felt like this is kind of my duty to do that. So I just have a couple pictures here of him and his wife, who is my friend. And like I said, they spent their life dedicating to helping wildlife and helping different things out in nature. So I just wanted to share this with everybody. And if you are interested in supporting this GoFundMe to allow them to bring him home back to Michigan, that would be great. So just wanted to do that and share that. So thank you so much for that time. And next, I just want to bring on my guest here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring her on right now so we can get started with the show. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I am well. I'm so happy to have you here today so we can have this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I'm so happy that you were able to join us through video because I know that you are out in nature a lot and you spend time at one with nature and you travel so much, which is awesome. And so I just appreciate that you're able to be seen so people can see your beautiful face and we can have that conversation. So yeah, so welcome. So how's your day going so far?
It's going good. How about you?
Oh, it's good. It's been a long day, but it's been good. So yeah, let's just get right to it. I do have a couple questions that we kind of discussed ahead of time that we were going to talk about, but of course, I love organic conversation too. So we'll see wherever the wind takes us. I do want to share this too. This is your website for people so they can look at that as well. And I'll put this up periodically as well. But my first question for you is, let's show this. Where did your love for cannabis come from? Like, when did it get started? Because you have a passion for it. I mean, you are, yes. You love it. So I just wanted to know, where did it come from? Where did it start?
So it started later in life for me. I grew up in the South, in Florida. And so down there, cannabis is like the devil. And so I didn't grow up thinking that cannabis was anything more than just some horrible drug. So later on in life, I was diagnosed with chronic migraine with vertigo. And I was under treatment under 5 prescription medications at different points of time. And one day I had a friend over and I had like an onset coming on where I knew a migraine was coming. So I get up to grab my pills and she's like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you taking those?" She was in the process of rolling a joint and she was like, "This is all you need." And so just like I did, it's kind of like a really long pause. And I'm like, you know what? Like, nothing else is working. Why not? And so I took 3 to 4 puffs. I got really sleepy. I was knocked out to the next morning. And the next day I went and picked up an 8th, and it's been me and cannabis ever since. So my love came from the fact that cannabis, in fact, healed me from a condition that literally was like it was killing me. Like I would be under a migraine 1 to 3 days a week. I went from working overtime to barely being able to work part-time because I was in chronic pain all the time. And a plant literally like snatched it all away. So that's exactly why I do what I do, because I love it, period. So even for the people that just want to smoke weed, like great, smoke it. Because even if you don't want to receive medicinal value from it, you are. But there is real life like testimonials and proof and research and studies where like this plant saves lives.
No, yeah, because I know I see pictures of you, from years ago, and you were, just a little bit heavier, and you talk about how that kind of helped too with your health journey in regards to that. So was that did that help, or was it more? Because I know you're vegan as well, so was it a combination, or?
It was a combination. So I lost the full about 90 pounds in one round, but it took a while. Like, I mean, it took me 3 years. I did it with diet and exercise. So it took me a while to do it. But then during my migraine time, things happen. I can't get up and I can't work out. I can't get up and cook. So I'm relying on, going out to eat, things like that. I gained half of my weight back. So by that point, because I was already consuming cannabis on a regular basis, when I went to, and I started the process of losing weight again, with me not being able to go to the gym, cannabis helped play a role in that. But today, like the way that I live my life is nothing like I used to. So the routine of going to the gym once or twice a day, 5 to 6 days a week, that doesn't exist, right? So like my best workout some days might be a walk in nature. So the combination of literally just consuming plants and just treating my body with plants, I don't worry. It's like an appetite suppressant. It's weird because depending on which strain I consume, cannabis is my appetite suppressant, but it's also like when I know I need to eat, it also will give me an appetite. So it's just plants completely, like they save me, like in everything from my chronic condition to weight, everything. It's just, I have no worries, literally.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course, I've read different things, and where people have used it. I mean, different things. And we're going to talk about like CBD and hemp and different things. But people have used different parts of the plant to, I mean, even with their children. And I also want to just add this real quick, that neither one of us are doctors. We're not medical, we're not giving any kind of medical advice. I just want to put that out there so that nobody thinks that we're trying to treat anything. She is here to just share her personal life experiences. So I don't want anybody to take this and use it as medical advice. So if you have issues or anything like that you need treated or need looked at, please go, talk to a doctor. So I just wanted to add that. But with that said, for you, and I guess maybe let me backtrack a little bit, because I got so excited that I forgot. I want you to introduce and kind of tell what you do, because I know what you do, but they may not know what you do in regards to, like you said, how you travel and things of that nature. So kind of talk about what you do.
I'm a wildflower child. So in 2018, I was living in Ohio. So backtrack, in 2015, when I started consuming cannabis on a regular basis, because as I'm a teenager, right? Like, I don't know many teenagers who haven't experienced getting high at least once. So I was that kid. I experienced it a few times, but it wasn't until 2015 where I became a regular consumer. And so in 2018, my life's dream has been to travel. So now I paired that with traveling for a purpose, and literally everything that I do is because of what happened in 2015. Like, that plant changed my whole life. I call her she because I consume THC primarily. THC is produced from the female plant. And so when I talk about cannabis, you'll often hear me say she. So she saved me. And so I travel. I was hoping to be out of the country by now, but COVID slowed things down. So right now I travel in the United States, all over, with the purpose of going to visit cannabis farms and different cannabis and hemp. I will also let me back up a little bit too, because cannabis, hemp, marijuana, it's all the same thing. we'll get into that later. So I blanket and say cannabis, but I also include hemp in that. So I travel and I visit both marijuana and hemp farms. I travel to different businesses, dispensaries, different smoke shops, things like that. And I just write about what they're doing, what I'm doing, how the plant can be used for health reasons, how it can be used to build a house, how it can be used to feed animals, from the seed to you actually consuming it. I'm covering it all. And it's me out here learning really and reporting it back to everyone else. So everyone doesn't have the same opportunities that I do. I have to kind of be a voice for the voiceless out here. And so it's like everyone can't just up and leave and go get educated like out west where it's free and everyone loves the plant and there's legality everywhere. So let me do that. And so that's what I do. I should say that it is made possible by the fact that I have amazing sponsors. I have a bunch of sponsors in both the marijuana and the hemp space that support and sponsor everything that I do, from helping pay and take care of the writers on my blog to supporting and sponsoring my travel in support of my mission. So I say I do it, but really like it's a community of people that really help me do what I'm doing.
That's amazing. I think that's cool. I bet it's a lot of people out here that wish they had that job to be able to travel around and do that. I mean, I always like what I call on the ground reporting, you know, right there with the people, talking to people, understanding the culture of what you're talking about. I mean, there's different cultures within even that community, and people don't quite understand that because people just hear marijuana, they hear weed, they hear cannabis, and they go to this negative place, not really understanding, as you spoke about, some of the benefits that it has provided for different people in all different types of spaces. So, and this is kind of what, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but I do want to talk about what did you learn? When did you learn that it had beneficial properties? Which you already spoke about that for yourself with migraines, but also what are some of them? Because I don't think people quite understand some of the things that it has kind of contributed to people's health and wellness. Their own personal testimonies. You know, like I said, I've spoken to parents who have used different parts of it to help their children with, you know, what people would consider ADHD, or even some children that are have different parts of the spectrum, you know, that are autistic and different things of that nature. So what type of benefits have you kind of seen, not just from yourself, but other people you've spoken to?
So back then I had no idea. I knew that it helped take my pain away. And I had a general sense that can't at this, you know, by this point, Colorado and you know, other states were starting to legalize. So I had an understanding that, you know, it was like a plant, like a tea, it was an herb, you know, something with healing potential. So I knew it helped me, but I had no idea until really I traveled out west and I really got lost in the culture where I saw that from just grinding up the seed, that will help your body to like not be so inflamed, just the seed, not even the flower, to the stems and the stalk of the plant being able to be turned into hempcrete. So now you're able to build homes from the plant. Both CBD and THC, and really all cannabinoids, right? Because we talk about CBD and THC a lot, but really the plant has about 100 or more different cannabinoids that we don't have a whole lot of info on, because, you know, legalization is new and research is still underway. But both CBD and THC for things like chronic pain, anxiety, depression, inflammation, IBS, cancer, I mean, skincare. We're talking like another thing that I want to put out there because it helps with the entire human body, because our bodies also produce those cannabinoids. Like we have an endocannabinoid system, the exact same that the cannabis plant has. So our bodies naturally produce. It's why when employers are sending employees for drug tests, they never expect the result to come back at absolutely zero, because it's impossible, because whether you're consuming a cannabinoid or not, your body's producing it. So literally the plant, it's almost like Amazon, like from A to Z, that in my opinion, from everything I've read, from the people I've interviewed, from everything that I know about this plant from A to Z, it takes care of the entire human body and really human life. We can get into animal life. You can also give your pets CBD. Pets have anxiety, pets have depression, they have aching bones. CBD helps treat them too. We're talking, it can feed your cows. Like, it's cheaper and better on the planet to grow hemp than it is to grow wheat. And so we're starting to see farmers grow that and feed that to their pet, like from A to Z. I call it the miracle plant or nature's best plant, but really it's like the mother of all of them.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so kind of explain the difference for people that may not know the difference between hemp, CBD, and some people say cannabis, but as you say, it's all kind of in there together. So can you kind of explain that to the people for me?
So hemp is what is legal, right? That's where the legal CBD comes from. Hemp, by government definition, is the cannabis plant that grows 0.3% or less THC. If that hemp plant goes to 0.4% THC, then in this country, it becomes marijuana. So really the difference is the government telling us what we can call hemp and what we can't, which is why I use the cannabis, because cannabis is both marijuana and hemp. And it really is just down at the seed level, and how much THC that plant produces that really tells the difference, distinguishes the difference between the two. Marijuana, because CBD also is produced in a marijuana plant, right? So, but marijuana, where hemp is primarily CBD, marijuana is primarily THC, but we'll still have CBD in there because there's no separation of the two, really. They're the same plant. It's just at the scientific level down there in the seed, how it'll produce which cannabinoid, in abundance.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I didn't even realize the part about the, how it at 0.3 or 0.4, then it turned, I didn't realize that. So thank you for, with that information. So can you kind of talk about different strains and different things? Because, sometimes, especially for people who, do want to use it for different healing properties for their personal self, you could have one strain and somebody might, be really hyper and, start having anxiety or start seeing things. And then you may have someone else that tries a different strain and it kind of puts them to sleep. So can you kind of explain some of the different strains and how a person would decide which might work best for them?
Yeah. So historically, so we're seeing a lot of things now where people are like, there's really no difference between indica and sativa. That's all a myth. So it's really important to pay attention to terpenes, because just like the cannabinoids, CBD, THC, CBG, they're also terpenes. Myrcene, limonene, those things, that entourage effect that is in a lot of cannabis education, is both the cannabinoids and the terpenes working together to heal the body. So those terpenes are also going to have an impact on your experience with specific strains. So to kind of go back to the basics, sativas are known for energetic highs. Those are like the head highs. Those are the uplifting. They don't make you sleepy. They make you happy and you're ready to get up and go. Someone with anxiety should probably not consume a high potency sativa. You might want to stay away from, there's a strain called green crack. That's a very potent sativa. And it, even for me, and my highs are different now, right? Like I consume throughout the day, every day. So I don't have the trippy cannabis highs like the first or the second timer, Someone consuming for the first time with anxiety, don't consume something like green crack or something really high in THC. Someone with anxiety should ease their way into cannabis through CBD, because CBD is more of the body high and more of the relaxation versus the psychoactivity. Though I say that, but we know anxiety and stress and all that is kind of psychoactivity, right? So CBD will impact, but it's not going to create that high like the THC would. And so for me, I'm a sativa girl because I have migraines. The cannabis needs to hit my head so I can get out of my head because that's how migraines, And so I'm a lemon everything. I love lemon haze. I love lemon kush. I love lemon jack. I love lemon everything, but I also love a haze, right? Lemons are mostly known to be sativas, and hazes are mostly known to be indicas. So for me, on a day where I need to work and I need to be creative, I'm sativa all day. On a day where I'm kind of like relaxed, then I like to do hybrids, which is a mixture of both. And then for sleep, I'm on the indicas because those are my downers, right? So really when consuming cannabis, you have to first decide or ask or set the intention for why you're consuming. For me, it's migraines, right? So that helps me to research and understand sativas more. Someone consuming for anxiety would want to start with CBD or an indica. And so, it's really, why am I consuming? What am I trying to get out of this? And then go from there.
I really like how you come from, a healing perspective, asking the question why. And I think with a lot of things in our life, we need to ask those questions. Why am I doing this? Why do I think this? Why am I going on this journey? Because you have more of a purposeful ride, right? So I like how you kind of come from that perspective in regards to, why am I doing this? Not just, the teenagers that's just having fun. And hey, whatever, that's to teach their own. But I'm just saying, I like your perspective on that. So I know there's ways, people put stuff. I watch channels all the time and I see different cooking shows where people put it in their food. They put it in drinks, smoothies. I mean, honey. I mean, it's just so many different, different ways that you could put it in there. I mean, in different things. So what kind of things do you do, or what do you recommend for someone that may want to start putting, using CBD oil in their foods or drinks?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people smoking, and even me, I'm primarily a smoker. For me, um the plant it's gonna work in the way that your body needs it to work. So someone who might want to smoke so bad versus eating it, if your body's like, nah, I'm good, I don't want to receive it through smoke, I heal better from an edible, then you're gonna, like, naturally your body's gonna crave edibles more, right? Some people just have no desire in smoking at all. Edibles, oil, so i I write, and so there's a piece that I call weed forms, because you don't just smoke it. um you can take that flower, the flower, the nug itself, and drop it into your smoothie mix, and it's not activated, right? Heat activates cannabis. So CBD and THC are going to be activated when you heat it. But remember, there's terpenes. So then when it's not heated, those terpenes stay all the way intact. Like, they are at their most best and potent when they're not heated. And so those terpenes, which also heal the body, thrown in a smoothie, mixed up, added like you would spinach, like you would kale, it's another green. Throw it in your smoothie. You can get the oil and put it in, I don't know, people make brownies a lot, or cookies, but you can put it in beans. You can put the oil in whatever you want, really, right? Like, you don't even have to put it in food. Like, I don't really do edibles much, um, because I'm vegan, for one, and there's not that many options quite yet for the vegan market, as far as, like, we have a lot of gummies, right? But some days I want a cupcake, I don't know. And so instead of eating unwanted calories, I'll just drop the oil under my tongue, right? And so the onset is quicker that way, because it's going right into your bloodstream versus waiting for your body to digest it to then release, right? So then, I mean, there's just so many things. You can decarb the plant, which is heating it in the oven, right? Like, get some CBD and you put it in the oven at 220 degrees for about 45 minutes. Your CBD is activated. Now you can put that in oatmeal. You can put that in your smoothie. You can put it in a capsule. I mean, however you want it, right? Like, the easier question is how, probably like what ways am I not able, right? And then the list would be a lot shorter.
Oh, that's amazing. No, wow. I
Oh,
find it. Oh,
and
what'd you say? I'm
I'm so
sorry.
sorry to answer the question on bombs too, right? Like you can get the oil and you can just put that and mix it in your lotion or in your balm or whatever you want, your face cream, whatever you want. It's just going to add to the benefit, because
Yeah.
even if it's THC oil absorbed through the skin, you're not going to get high. THC has to be heated, like smoked, decarbed in order for you to get high. It's not going to happen in a topical form. So CBD and or THC in topical form, like for burns, for scars, for inflammation, for like not really deep pain, but depending, because I've had some that work in deep muscle pain, but normally it's like surface level or right under the skin, but still like works amazing.
No, I find that so cool. I like I said, I watch and follow a lot of people that are, into natural forms of healing, and they use it a lot in balms and different lotions that they make. So I think that's cool. So I do want to talk about psychedelics because I know that you have kind of touched on that before too in some of your blog writings. So I want to know because I'm curious because I'm scared to death of stuff like that. Because I'm a very high. I have a lot of high energy already. So that kind of stuff is just not something that for me. But I read so much and I see so much, and I've watched different documentaries of people who have experienced and dabbled in psychedelics, and they talk about some of their the rise, I like to call, the different things they've gone through. So I wanted to ask you just a little bit if you wanted to share some that you've experienced and kind of what psychedelics are and how you kind of prepare for it. Because I know some people go out into nature to do it or different things like that. So yeah, just share it with us.
So psychedelics is it's, I guess it's a cool term. It's like a trendy term, right? But it's still all medicine, right? So even though you're going on a ride and going on a trip, it's still a plant body and it's still going to heal you in some way, right? So with psychedelics, it's definitely all mind, versus, like cannabis can also be mind, but it could also be body. Um, I've experienced magic mushrooms. I will be experiencing the others. Like I'm a flower child. I'm going to experience all of the plants, right? But I don't just go in and consume things without doing my research. So I'm a very like baby step type of person. So right now, I do microdose with magic mushrooms. I absolutely love it. I didn't think that I would because I love cannabis so much that I literally felt like no other plant would do anything for me like cannabis, right? But they just work. It's like they work as a team. It's the coolest thing. Um, and like, let me just make this point. How you were saying you have really high energy and something like that may be too much. What's beautiful about CBD is that CBD can bring you down some, right? Where because it relaxes you. It's a body relaxer. It's a stress reliever. So I always tell people, always go in at a microdose level with whatever you do, right? I don't ever advocate because I haven't even done it. And I'm talking, I've been experiencing mushrooms for a year now, and I still haven't done a hero dose. I have no interest in taking 7 grams to go on this crazy ride that people talk about because I get so much out of microdosing. I take 2.5 grams or less. And it just, really just depends. Like if I want to go on on more of a trip, if I want to connect with the energies more, if I want to, let me back up because I'm talking and some people have no idea what I mean. When you, I call it when you pop a shroom, you're gonna go through this journey of seeing lights and patterns. For the spiritual people out there, how it the reality is that there is no empty space, right? We're surrounded by energy and the ancestors and spirits that haven't yet crossed over. Where we think we don't see anything, we have little atoms. There is no empty space. For me, when I popped my first dose of magic mushrooms, I saw them. Like I saw the no empty space. I saw that when I tried to put my hand in there, over there, I was going through them, or I was becoming them. So your mind, I like to explain it. Cannabis gives you the courage to get up and start making those steps towards that door that you need to see, like what's behind there. And then mushrooms will then grab your hand from cannabis and open that door and take you in there. And for me, it's just been amazing. The reason I'm able to be on here with you and like now on Clubhouse and publicly speaking and is because of magic mushrooms. Like I've been receiving so much out of them that anybody with any blocks, I have, on top of migraines with vertigo, I have OCD. For my OCD, it's been, I'm becoming better and better for sure. And I don't microdose every day. I'm like a 1, maybe 2 times a month because I get that much out of it that spacing it out like that it's the most beautiful thing.
So when you say you get that much out of it, what do you mean in regards to just awareness or connection, or what do you mean by that? Because some of what you just explained, I am myself and others have experienced through meditation or deep connection through energy. So tell me and I'm not doubting what I truly believe. I've never done it and probably never will because I'm scared to death. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a beautiful point. You don't need psychedelics, right? If you want to heal, for me, I'm an Aries. I have OCD. My mind it's always right. I went to go see a spiritual medium years back because I needed to know then what was going to happen in 5 or 10 years. My mind is always right. I need that help. I need for plants to come in and be like, relax, like calm down. The same exact thing that you experience through, it's exactly what psychedelics do. So if you are able to go on your healing journey and connect and do all that without assistance, that's so beautiful. Like it's beautiful. But for someone like me or someone with depression or someone with some sort of block or mental, because the government calls it that, I guess. So it's like, for lack of better word, like these are mental health conditions. Someone who's struggling with one of those or through something like that may need assistance. I'm going to always advocate for a plant, a psychedelic, before I advocate for anything that's prescribed. Like those pills, I didn't come back the same from them. Cannabis and the mushrooms are bringing me back to who I was before those medications that I let those doctors put me on. So
What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, what did the prescription medicine do to you? Because the reason why I asked is because I'm not and this is, to each their own. And again, I always tell people to seek medical advice. So I'm not a doctor, but for me personally, I always try to help people find a path through natural means as opposed to heavy medications, because they do have causes, the different causes and effects. And what happens is that you take certain things and then now you have problems with your kidneys, and it's like, I just had droopy eye, or you had something else, and then you have these different effects that happen. So yeah, what type of things did you experience? Because I'm just very curious about that.
So the last prescription I was on was Topamax. And it literally, so I used to be an insurance adjuster, and I did that for 9 years. And the role that I was in at the time that I was prescribed Topamax, I was doing that for about 1.5 years. I knew every day. It was repetitive work. I know every day what I'm doing. I have it written down. I have lists everywhere. I thrived in that role. Like my numbers were amazing. After about a month of taking Topamax, I'm noticing like I'm sitting at a job that I thrived in and can multitask and do so much. And I can't remember what I'm supposed to do next. Not that like something slipped my mind. Like I'm sitting there and I can't, after I do this, what do I normally do next? Right? That, and then my fingers and my toes would tingle. I feel like it was doing something where it was supposed to cure this neurological condition, which is generally diagnosed and no doctor can ever tell you why you have migraine. Like can come from so many things, they're prescribing you medications for seizures, because back then there wasn't nothing that was dedicated to migraines, because no one knows where they come from. So they're giving you things for your side effects, creating other side effects. So when I went in to talk to my doctor about taking me off of this, it's that visit is where I'm like, I'm good. I can't do this anymore. Where you want to prescribe me another pill for the side effects that this would know, like, we're good. This is number 5 and nothing's working. Like, I'm done. Like, I haven't been, since I bought that 8th, I haven't even been to a doctor's appointment for my migraines. Like, because it's pointless. It's CAT scans and MRIs and all, and no one can tell you anything, and they just want to pump you full of pills. And so for me, I'm going to always, always, always advocate for cannabis. Like, anything that's wrong with you, if you're not, and it's so sad because so many people have to leave the states that they're in to go to states where they can medically treat and not be scared of the law. Like, but for those that have the ability, for those that are struggling with opioids, and really have a conversation with your doctor, patient, client, or patient, doctor, the term that exists. Like, they can't call the police on you for wanting to have a conversation about cannabis. Really sit down and have those conversations, because you don't have to struggle like that.
No, I agree with you. And I find it so interesting. It's always so funny because, even when it comes down to things like turmeric or ginger, or, basic things that don't have anything else in it but what it is, right? It's so funny when I tell people, when people say, oh, I have inflammation, or I have this type of pain, okay, I say, well, you can put turmeric in your, you can put it in your soups, you can put it in a capsule, you could, mix it in tea, you do different things, and their face, they turn their face up and they say, well, where did you get it? Where do you get it from? They ask 1,000 questions, but they go to a doctor, and a doctor will say, I'm going to prescribe you this medicine that has like 16 letters in it and don't even know how to pronounce it. They don't ask one question on what's in it or what, and we just take it. I just always find that so interesting, that how people have been, I guess, kind of taught to frown upon, natural means of medicine that's like literally comes out the earth. So, do you find that when you talk to people about it, they seem like, a little bit more leery of it than they do, talking to a doctor?
Oh yeah. Like, I advocate, that's the thing too, is I advocate for all plants. Like, you can simply get rid of a lot of chronic pain just like going vegan. Like, don't eat meat anymore, right? You don't have to consume cannabis. Go to the other plants, go to the produce section, right? Before the dispensary, see if that works. It's like you said, people want that immediate impact, right? Turmeric and ginger, you have to create a regimen. Like, you have to wake up in the morning and drink you a little like turmeric ginger shake every day, let it build up in your body. You'll see the difference. For those who are in so much pain that just doesn't work, start that and then get you some CBD, right? Like, plants heal completely. My website, I don't talk about animal consumption. I don't advocate for any other diet but the plant-based diet. I don't advocate for any other form of treating than plant-based treating for healing. We have to get to a point where, like, we trust nature, right? Nature was here before all these doctors. They were here before medical degrees. Like, nature has been all these. The reality is, and what no one really talks about enough, and maybe I shouldn't say that, I think we need to talk more about it, right, is that all these medications are generics of what's in nature. Everything that we need, nature grows, and everything
Yes.
that nature grows will heal.
Yeah, and then they take it from nature, and then they morph it into something else and combine it with something else and add a little synthetics, they add chemicals, they add this. But the base of it, the core of it comes from nature. And, I should have probably had a doctor on here, or, a scientist, maybe they could have talked about the other side of it. But for me, I just always find it so interesting because people literally will ask me 1,000 different questions about turmeric. And it's like, look it up. It's a natural, means of healing. But the minute they tell me, I have people all the time to say, yeah, my doctor put me on a new medication, and they can barely say the name, and they go fill a prescription, that's the end of it. So I just always find that interesting.
Yeah, it's a trip. And I like I said, I grew up in the South, and down there, they teach you that, like, doctors and lawyers and the law is God, and like nature, like, but I'm really happy that, like, I have Caribbean roots. And so my dad was born and raised in Puerto Rico. And so he grew our own, like we grew fruits and vegetables. And so I'm really glad that I got to experience that, because if not for that, you know, like the region that I grew up in, you know, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I always advocate for plants for people that are asking a bunch of questions about turmeric. Literally, if you Google it, right next to CBD, or like neck to neck, turmeric and CBD are number one for treating inflammation. So even if you don't want to touch cannabis, turmeric will just let it build. But don't ask a bunch of questions, y'all. It's a plant. It's gonna work.
It really does. And so I always find that interesting. This always kind of tickles me because, you know, it's so many different things that, and again, like you said, I just want to reiterate that it takes time. Like it's not going to magically just work, you know, that day, but you have to let it build up in your system to really see the benefits of it. But it does work. It does work. And, you know, of course, like, and I'm using turmeric as an example, but it's so many different things. But as with turmeric, you can also put that in something that's topical, and creams and different things to put onto your, you know, your body. Just be careful because turmeric will stain, so you got to watch that. But you know, but so I want to ask you too, before we go, you know, I know you travel and everything. How did you get started with traveling? What I mean, did you reach out to somebody, or did you just start doing it kind of on your own and it kind of just blew up? Tell me.
So I knew when I was 8 that I was going to live out of a suitcase. Like I always knew, like I grew up in a place that so many people could just like, they want to go, like Miami, Florida. It's just like, I call it the Mecca of the South, though I have people that argue me down and they're like, no, that's Atlanta. I don't know. So we'll call it maybe the Mecca of the Caribbean. I don't know, but beautiful tropical place. But I always knew that I wouldn't be there my whole life. Like I always knew that I would one day pack up and in some way be living out of a suitcase. And so in 2018, I was in Ohio. Cannabis really healed my migraines, but also was like really, I was doing some soul work. I mean, I'm still doing some soul work, but it was like the time is now. Like I'm never gonna really be able to plan for that, right? Like I don't know many people who come from like basic means who, I mean, you know, I've had certain opportunities, right? Like, you know, but I'm still, I came from basic means. I never thought that I'd be able to plan a life where like I'd be able to really travel um, in like the fancy way. And so I think that always stopped me. But then in 2018, I'm like, no, like we're going to go out here and do this work. Like people need to know about the plant. They need to hear from you. How are we going to do this? And I just primarily did it literally turning my hatchback into my bed. And when I say I have never been, it's the best thing I've ever done to like literally cross country, like stop. I mean, it's risky. I will say that, y'all. Like it takes some planning. You got to have like a paper trail. You got to have a crew of people that you're texting on the move, like taking pictures of the rest stop that you're going to stop at to take a nap. So there's a paper trail in case you come up missing. Like I watch a lot of like First 48 and like
Me
crime
too.
shows.
Me too. Everybody's a suspect to me.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, based off these shows, I've been watching them all my life. This is great training. So like really, I got a network of people together and I'm like, this is what's happening. This is the track I'm taking. Like I would at every stopping point, like all the time, just be in contact with people. But I really did it just like living out of my car. Or if I'm like in a place like Texas where I have my sister is amazing. She was like, welcome home. Or if I'm down there in Florida with my mom and my other siblings, I have the dopest support system that I do this because I want to. And the moment that I'm like, this isn't working, I don't have to do it because I have a like my tribe is amazing, but I do it because I love it and because it's necessary, because I camp out with the plants, like literally sleeping on hemp farms, the most beautiful thing, because people don't have to be scared of the plant. I do that so people can see like there's healing here. Like if you knew the old me, people have known me from way back and they see who I am today and they're like, yeah, we really changed Vee's entire life. Like I'm so much better now than I ever was. So I do it for that, literally in honor of the plant.
Well, I think that's amazing. And I'm so happy that you found healing, the way that you needed to. I think that's beautiful. I want to ask you, like, do you have any stories? What have you said? I mean, you've been all over, you've done different things, with different people and experienced different things. Do you have any interesting or funny stories that you've seen while you've been on the road traveling and experiencing these different cultures?
And so I don't know about funny, but I will say that coming from the South, there are things that we still see down there that are like, what? But out West, it's like, bring your weird ass on. We love you anyway. Like, we welcome all the weirdos. This is home. The thing that I like literally have taken out of this whole thing is how resilient people really are. Like, throughout the state of Oregon. And so Oregon, and I don't know about the entire state, I will speak specific to Portland. It's legal for homeless people to set up their sleep sites, their home sites on public
Oh,
roads.
that's awesome.
Right. It amazes me how you can really have so little but have so much. Like, it really was like soul work for me spending time in Oregon, because I come from being, kind of like, I didn't have nothing growing up, right? Or so I thought. I know now that that's way off, but I grew up thinking I didn't have nothing, right? So then I'm in my 20s, I have everything. I have way too much, because I couldn't have it before and I can have it now, so why not? To seeing how you really can have a tent and a tarp. Like, these people are making 3-bedroom like homes out of tents and tarps. They got their cars pulled into the tent, like their garages, like really resilient people that like will come out of that in 40-degree weather and still smile at you and say good morning, ask how your day is. Like, so in all of the excuse me, ugly that is going on in the world that we see, the stories of how like beautiful people still are not really being talked about. And there's still some really beautiful people out here who like will literally offer you to come spend the night in their house. Like, they barely have something, but they're still offering it up to you. And I speak of Oregon a lot because I love it, but the same type of vibe in Washington, the same type of vibes in California. Um, the saying like the West Coast is the best coast. I didn't really think, it, but I think so. Like, the West has been like really amazing to me.
Well, I think that's awesome. A lot of people that I speak to that live out there, travel out there, always speak to it that way. That free love and just the openness. But I like what you touched on in regards to people that we as a society look at as not having a lot, how they're so open and so giving. And then the people that we think have a lot of stuff, they won't give you the shirt off their back. So I love that, and I'm sure that was really like a humbling experience for you to witness that. I think that's beautiful. I'm so happy that you were able to witness that, and I know that we have a little bit of a connection thing, so that kind of hindered us to have more of a real back and forth conversation because I don't want the feedback to come. But I do want to say that I really appreciate you for coming on today and sharing this with us. Do you have any closing words that you want to give to everybody or share with everyone?
Yes, don't be scared of the plant. It's a plant. How everyone has no problem waking up in the morning, soaking their tea. If it helps you feel more comfortable to soak the cannabis, you can do that and drink it in tea form. Um, People that consume the plant and who love it, even if they're only consuming it in their minds for getting high, like, they're treating some kind of condition. Like, I'm sure those people have nice hearts. They're calm. They're not bringing a whole bunch of drama into the house. And I know I'm not blanket statementing that. I'm just saying, like, the general person in your life treating with cannabis isn't making them a horrible person. And so let's just like more plants and love. Let's just like not judge people for lies that the government really like brainwashed us with. The government did the job of making us hate cannabis the same way they make us hate things that are different from us in a sense, and not all of us, but I don't want to get too political, but things in that vicinity. So let's just like be more light and love, and let's just not judge people for consuming plants, because at the end of the day, cannabis is a plant that nature grows in abundance, and we can't criminalize nature.
No, I love that you said that. And yes, I sometimes can get a little political in different things when it comes to different stuff I'm passionate about, but I understand what you're saying in regards to, kind of teaching us that something is bad. But now, when it becomes more legalized and people make profit off of it, then now it's okay. And, there's so many different paths to go to and talking about this in regards to, incarceration rates, in regards to, cannabis and different things like that. But people are allowed to consume alcohol and they're not supposed to drive, but people do. So it's just so many different dynamics to this that we could talk about. But I really appreciate you for coming on here and shedding a little light about it, because there's some things I didn't know, some things I did, but I appreciate the clarity that you're bringing to it, because people do need to know, and people do tend to kind of criminalize people who partake in smoking weed, or like you said, any ways of doing that. People kind of have it has a bad stigma attached to it. So I appreciate you for talking about that and sharing your experiences and being so open with us. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me talk to your people, your following. If y'all go to my site and see that even one article helped you understand cannabis better, sharing it with one other person would make me so happy, because really it's what it's all about.
Thank you again. And I just I'm going to keep following you and just kind of keep seeing, your travels and things. I think it's so cool. I'm trying to convince my husband for us to buy, one of those campers so we can just travel around. I want to do that so bad. I would love to just get up and go and just be on the move. And I'm glad you talked about being safe too while you're doing it. But again, thank you so much for being here today. And we'll keep in touch for sure.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Have a great night. Well, that was awesome. Yes, please go to Vee's website that's here. And this is her @ as well, where you can follow her travels and different things like that. It's really cool. I think it's really cool. And I really love anytime when people follow their dreams and different things they want to do in life and do it. I mean, I think that's amazing, and that she has people that sponsor and believe in her vision and her dream and support that. So I think it's amazing. So you all have a great night. I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight with us and talking to me. And, again, I just want to reiterate that we are not doctors. We are not trying to give any type of medical advice. So don't go say it. Aaron said something, because I didn't say it, and neither did Vee. We're just speaking of personal experiences. So you all have a great night. And thank you so much. All right, bye.